Last time, I took a look at some of the strongest stands from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure that were unfortunate enough to have users that weren't up to snuff with their own abilities. But this time, I want to look at characters that have weak stands and are able to make the most out of it. Like last time, I'll be excluding all main JoJos and JoFoes because they're in a category of their own, and let's be honest, if we're doing it for this list, Johnny would easily be number one. Also, like last time, this will be in a random order besides the one I think is the absolute best. Make sure you leave a like and a comment if you want to see more videos like this. Let's start off with Part 5, Golden Wind, because I like Part 5. I like it a lot. And there was one minor antagonist who was able to almost completely solo Bruno's gain, and that would be Mario Zucchero, using the power of his stand, Soft Machine. On its surface, Soft Machine doesn't seem too powerful. It deflates solid objects and turns them into squishy, condom-like material. But with this one ability, he was able to hide an entire boat inside another boat. On paper, this is something so simple, but in practice, he easily made the most out of it. Let's not underappreciate how well, out of every Golden Wind antagonist, this guy did. He took complete control of his environment, and if Moody Blues didn't reveal his ploy, he could have easily triumphed. In order, he knocked off Narancha, Mista, Fugo, Giorno, and Abacchio, only losing to Bruno, who decided to break the game physics by extending his stand's range to defeat him. So of course, a bizarre torture dance was deserved for such a formidable foe. Going back to Part 3, we should take another look at a character that also incapacitated most of the main crew, and that would be Darby the Older with his stand, Osiris. Now, Osiris really isn't the best stand because it requires the user to have to make a deal with the target, like a devil that went down to Georgia, in order to turn an individual into a poker chip.
Sorry, but I hold all the cards here. If you can best me in a fiddle contest, you win back just her soul, as well as a solid gold fiddle.
What happens if we lose?
You will only win a smaller silver fiddle. Also, I guess I'll kill one of you, him.
But instead of a fiddle battle, you're placing bets. Some that seem innocuous, but are really dangerous. Now, it's not really saying much that he was able to outsmart Polnareff, but when you have a character that's able to outwit Joseph Joestar, the Joseph Joestar, the man who outsmarted the smartest life form in existence, that deserves some props. Darby was able to manipulate his environment, similar to Zucchero, such that he was able to make the most out of his extremely situational ability. And he really only lost to his own self-doubt of a flawless plan. The Crusaders were one bluff away from losing all of it to one of the best stand users in the entire series. We're gonna fly all the way to Part 8 for the next one, but fear not, we're not going too deep into the part, at least for now, because we're talking about the character from the very first fight in JoJolion, Ojiro Sasame with his stand, Fun, Fun, Fun. When it comes to overly complicated and situational abilities, which JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is quite known for, it's hard to pass up on Fun, Fun, Fun for being probably the most overcomplicated and situational ability. The best way to understand it is if you injure your hand or your foot, the stand can take control of your body parts, but only if the stand is directly above the target. Arbitrary rules aside, you really have to respect the dedication to how meticulous Ojiro was in setting up his trap for Kira, which ended up being sprung by Josuke. He planted the photo album, got the towels, slippers, and drains all rigged, and left a beautiful babe in the bathtub, waiting. And he was waiting there for a long time. Honestly, way too much of a setup, but it did in fact work for what it was. And he was really only thwarted by how overpowered Soft and Wet is. But then, my man, he returns to steal the new Rokakaka from Jobin and Tsurugi, only to be defeated by how unstoppable and busted Speed King is. A for effort though, and a solid place on this list. While we're in Moriocho, let's switch to an alternate universe, go to Part 4 with Diamond is Unbreakable, and let's get something to eat. Now, if you've been watching the channel for any extended period of time, you'll know that I am in love with Tonio and his mastery over the food-based stand, Pearl Jam. This stand has no combat abilities, because the stand simply heals people with the power of food. But that doesn't matter to Tonio. He's honed his skills by crafting only the finest of Italian cuisine, so much so that he manifested a stand with his sheer willpower. Who else in the series did that? Avdol? For psychic abilities, he manifested Magician's Red. Well, Avdol died twice. Tonio didn't die, ergo, by basic power scaling, Tonio is stronger than Avdol, and could easily have defeated any character with the tasty tenderness of his entree. I'll level with you. I might have crapped all over Ungolo in the last video, and that's deservedly so because he is Ungolo, but if you compare him to any of his brothers, he's outclassed in pretty much every way. But if you have to choose from part 6, the guy who let his ego get the better of him and got defeated in one of the most confusing ways possible, or the cow man, I'm gonna give it to Rafael, who literally had more character development in his one fight than many of the characters in the entire part. Sky High on its surface seems like a fairly weak stand, especially if you just consider an individual rod. You have the ability to control alien-like rods that fly around the sky and can manipulate heat better than anything I've learned about in a heat transfer course. But it's how Rafael uses them to his advantage that makes for a great fight. This man knocked a helicopter out of the sky without even trying, which I guess is a trend of Dio's kids, knocking helicopters out of the sky, so that's kind of interesting. And the final confrontation between him and Jolene is reminiscent of Jonathan versus Dio, showing how the descendants of each bloodline play off of the aspects of them. It's so good, and it's easily one of the highlights from Stone Ocean. Too bad Aramis had to kick him while he was down, because this is genuinely one of the most competent stand users in part 6. I've saved the best for last. A character who I really haven't talked enough about, even though I love her so much. Let's go to part 7, Steel Ball Run, and find ourselves walking up to Ringo Rodigan's ranch again, this time encountering the reverse trap card herself, Hot Pants. Cream Starter is a tool-based stand that takes the form of a shaving cream can, but can spray her own skin at opponents. So firstly, you're introducing a limitation to this ability, that she really can only use as much as her own body allows, but she manages to use this in the most creative of ways and develop its capabilities even further, such as when she was disguising Lucy Steele to infiltrate as Scarlet Valentine. Then, the subsequent fight with the dangerous Mike O and his tubular bells shows that even when another stand outclasses her in power, she can still hold her ground and come out on top. And finally, just look at the best choreographed fight in the entire part. Diego Brando and Hot Pants versus Funny Valentine on Love Train. She pushes herself to the absolute limit, playing more of a support role since the stand can double as a healer on top of everything, specifically for the Dino Boy to dish out constant DPS. But what makes this awesome is that she was able to hold her own with a stand that ostensibly can't do any damage. The best she can do is surprise suffocate people, which she does on quite a few occasions, but it's Hot Pants. You can't not like Hot Pants. That's why she's my waifu. That's why she's the best stand user in all of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Well, I hope you liked that video. I really enjoyed making it because it's a little more laid back, and I've got some other bigger projects that are in the works right now. Let me know what you'd like to see in the future down in the comments below. Also, tell me who you think the best stand user in the entire series is. If they were on this list, you might disagree. That's okay. We can all agree to disagree and maybe learn something. Make sure you are subscribed and have all notifications turned on. Have a beautiful Duang, and I'll see you all next time.